What's up, Weirdo Swarm, and welcome back to the first album discussion of 2026. Happy New Year. Hope everyone's doing well. This is Podagon Infinity, the podcast that opens the door to all things King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and my name is Joe.
My name is Spenser. Joe Willoughby Wallaby Woo, a happy New Year to you.
Oh, wow. You wrote that down, didn't you?
I did. The album title, for some reason, awakened this, deep, buried in my brain memory of a song called Willoughby Wallaby Woo.
Oh, that's a real thing?
It is, yeah.
Okay, all right. Show me that later.
Yeah, I will. Anyway, yes, we're obviously talking about Willoughby's Beach today. If you're listening to this episode, you've, of course, seen the episode title and the subject of today's episode. We talked about on the last episode as our kind of teaser. So, yeah, here in the dead of winter, middle of January in the northeastern U.S., it's chilly, it's frigid, it's not pleasant outside most of the time, but naturally, that makes us kind of want to go hit the beach and go surfing, dude. That's
right. And you know what? It is summertime in Australia right now, so that's
true.
Very appropriate. We could just kind of put ourselves there. We're down under with the boys, summertime, surf rock, all that good shit. Get in the mood for that. And also, appropriately enough, it's the beginning of 2026. So this album, or not really album, I guess I shouldn't say. This EP is 15 years old this year.
Yes, sir.
The first ever official release by the band. Technically not an album because it is under, I think it's 25 minutes is the rule. Anything under is an EP and above is an album.
I tried to research
this. It seems kind of blurry, the qualifications.
I tried to research this and I saw answers relating to the runtime. I saw answers related to the number of tracks in the track listing. Confusing, to say the least.
Yeah. But either way, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to say on this rather short release of a, let's just use the word record. That could be the general term for EP, album, whatever. But before we get into the music, we have a listener message we would like to read. Spencer, you want to hit that for us?
Yes, sir. This email comes from Peter from Sweden, who has written in a few times before. Peter says, "Hi again, Joe and Spencer. Thanks for 2 excellent episodes on Podagon Infinity. I really love them."
You're very welcome, Peter.
Here are just a few things I wanted to share. About Spotify Wrapped and Gizzard stats, I wouldn't trust them for a minute, as you shouldn't. I'm 100% sure Gizzard was my most listened to band during the first half of 2025, yet the monthly stats still only place them 4th or 5th each month. I can't shake the feeling that this wasn't a random mistake. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, we also kind of had some weird, unexpected things with our Wrapped that we did in our last, our end of the year episode. So yeah, you think you're onto something there?
Yeah, something tells me they're not to be trusted. Peter continues.
Multiple reasons.
Yeah. Peter continues. Speaking of Spotify, I'm truly ashamed of 2 things. First, that the founder and CEO, Daniel Ek, is Swedish. And second, that I still haven't switched to another streaming service, but I promise I will do that ASAP. Might I recommend Tidal, your neighbors to the west, Norway. That's where Tidal is based.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
They're a tremendous platform. They pay artists quite a bit more per stream. So
I think they're on top, or at least one of the couple top streaming services. I've seen some charts out there with all of them listed when this whole Spotify thing was going down and people were trying to pick a different service. You've been using Tidal. I mentioned I've been using YouTube Music just for convenience and for the sake of not having to pay for another service, because I already pay for YouTube Premium, so I can have no ads and all that, but it also includes YouTube Music, so it was kind of already there, already available for me to use, so that's just what I'm going with for now. But I don't think they pay artists very well either. From the charts I've seen, YouTube is not great either.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are any number of different options out there, thankfully, so, browse around, weigh out your options a little bit, Peter. And Peter closes out the email with another thought. Says, lately, I've been playing around with the idea that at least some of King Gizzard's albums are inspired by classic rock albums, of course still carried out in their unique Gizzard style. For example, I get some In the Court of the Crimson King vibes from Polygon Dwanaland, and Omnium Gatherum feels Beatles' White Album inspired in its structure, and Paper Mache somehow makes me think of the Kinks' legendary album, The Village Green Preservation Society, although that might be a bit of a stretch. Heard it? Do you think this makes sense? And me either. And do you think you see similar inspirations in any of their other albums? Keep up the great work. Really looking forward to upcoming episodes. Best wishes from Sweden, Peter. Okay, so on that last thought there, Peter, I have heard both In the Court of the Crimson King and the Beatles' White Album. I can definitely see the parallels on both of those to the respective Gizzard albums that you mentioned. And I think, Joe, at least in passing, we might have alluded to those on their respective episodes.
Yeah, I think we did make mention We might have mentioned both of those, on each of their episodes. I know both of those albums have been brought up, especially in the Court of the Crimson King. I think that was, being that Polly was a bit more recently of a discussion than Omnium. I feel like I do remember us talking about it, although we talk a lot on these shows, and I can't keep track of it all. But let's say we did. I think we did.
Yeah. And then as for the Village Green Preservation Society, the Kinks album, you say legendary album. I have never once heard of it. I, of course, am familiar with the Kinks, at least, a handful of their greatest hits.
Yeah.
But that's one that I'm going to have to go listen to, because if it's papier-mâché adjacent in any way, you've caught my interest.
Yeah, I'm curious, because I know the Kinks of being this classic punk band, right? You comparing that to Paper Mache, I can't picture it in my head, but I only really know a handful of songs by them, so maybe, they experimented with some different sounds that I don't know about, so I would like to check that out as well. Unfortunately, didn't make the time to do so before recording today, but we'll check it out and see if you're onto something.
All right. Well, if you want to write in like Peter has, you can do so via email, like Peter did, podagoninfinity@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on the socials. We are on Blue Sky, Instagram, X. X is a dying platform, I will say. Not sure how much longer we're going to stick around there, but time will tell. Anyway, we do have a few social media comments to get to later that directly pertain to the record we're discussing today, Willoughby's Beach, so we will get to those actually after our track-by-track listen and review. And stay tuned for that part of the show a little bit later on.
All right, so let's get into our main discussion. Let's talk about the album, a little background before we talk about each individual song. Willoughby's Beach, released on October 21st, 2011. It was the precursor to the band's first technical debut album, 12 Bar Brews. This is technically an EP due to its very short runtime of only being 23 minutes. However, despite its short length, it still contains 9 cute little tiny individual tracks, most of which are sub 3 minutes in length, and a few that run less than 2 minutes even. Yep. The longest track is only 3 minutes and 14 seconds, and the shortest is 1 minute and 41 seconds. So, not too much variety. We're not in the jam era. This is long before the jams and the real experimentation with longer form, more progressive music. These songs are rough, raw, and incredibly simple, and especially the lyrics, which in a handful of tracks are just a few words or one or two phrases repeated over and over for their duration. So this is truly a different era, a totally different band than the one we know today.
I'm just going to call this Kid Gizzard because that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I actually took a few minutes the other day to look at how old each of the band members were at the time of this album's release.
Okay.
Joey and Cookie were 23, so that's not nothing age-wise, but after that, a drop-off. Cavs and Lukey are both only 21 at the time of the Willoughby's Beach release.
Wow.
Stu is only 20. Baby Ambrose is 19 years old when this comes out. Eric's birthday, I couldn't find anywhere for some reason.
I feel like every single image I see of Eric, he always looks the same. Like, I feel like he was always, 30 or 35 or something like he was always he just looks like 30 all the time. I don't know what it is. Even in some old clips I saw of them playing around this era and stuff, he still looks older than the rest of them to me. So maybe he is, I don't know, or he's just something about his look that gives that to me. But I had a feeling that Ambrose was the youngest, especially when you see some of those old clips. He baby faced, no mustache yet or anything like that. So just a bunch of kids either in or freshly out of college around that age, and you can very much hear that youthful energy on these old records.
Absolutely. And in that email from Peter, we kind of touched on the term punk a couple of times.
Yeah.
There is very much a punk influence here, as well as the surf rock influence, a little bit of psychedelia mixed in there, of course, and we'll get into where those manifest themselves, where those show themselves on the album. A couple of little takeaways that I wanted to bring up from kind of researching the general background of this album. I wanted to know first, is Willoughby's Beach a real place, or is it just a place they kind of thought up in their minds? Turns out it is a real place. It's not a traditional beach in the sense that it's not on the coast, though.
Yeah.
It's actually just kind of a small sandy bank along the Edward River, which is far north of the band's home city of Melbourne, in the small town of Deniliquin. It's kind of in this city campground outside the outskirts of the city. I looked up a couple of pictures. Looks like a really peaceful, serene, out-of-the-way campground site.
We should go sometime.
Yeah, that's a bucket list item for you.
Yeah.
Hey, here we are, Willoughby's Beach, listening to Willoughby's Beach. I'd imagine we would.
If I ever, I would love to make it to Australia Australia someday, and when I do, I'm going to have to plan ahead big time and write up a whole itinerary of like Giz sightseeing spots. You know, I want to go to the real Willoughby's beach. I want to visit, well, unfortunately, their old studio on Lygon Street's not there anymore, right? But
Rest in peace.
we could still go to where it was, I guess, just to say this was the spot where it happened. But yeah, there's a bunch of things like that. I'd have to plan ahead big time. But yeah, sounds like a cozy little spot to hang out.
Let's talk genres for a minute, Joe. I think I know the general answer that you're going to give me to this, but more so for the listeners, I'm going to ask you, what is your general experience listening to, knowing about surf rock in your life?
Almost zero, other than knowing like one or two Dick Dale tracks, you know, like the classic Miserloo and like stuff like that. Like there's a couple of these songs that have kind of become like almost novelty over time, or that are used in like movies a lot and different things like that. I think Miserloo is prominently featured in Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
And so that's like, that might be the first place I heard that. And I also
Everybody on the floor!
Yeah. And there's also the classic Wipeout as well, which that was that Dick Dale, or who was that?
No,
I forget.
That was the Surfaris.
The Surfaris.
Dick Dale might have covered it, though.
Okay, all right. So I'm not sure. He's just like the one big name I know when I think of surf rock is that guy. But yeah, Wipeout, I know that one as well. That is basically just those two. So other than that, I know really nothing about surf rock. What about you?
Okay, fair. I have actually enjoyed quite a bit of surf rock over the past, gosh, I would say decade or so. To pull back the curtain a little bit of self-disclosure, I used to have a tough time in the winters, just like from a general mental state. Nothing severe, nothing super dark. I used to have a tough time getting through the long, cold, dark winter days, and like this was in the days when I was single and I was kind of traveling or moving to a new city every year for work, working in the sports industry when I was, and things would feel lonely and cold and dark in the winter, and I needed something to kind of give me a little bit of pep in my step, or a little pop in my step to tie it back to King Giz. So I actually turned to surf rock after having already been a guy who had some appreciation for oldies music and for some shredding guitars. Something about surf rock just kind of called to me, and so I started enjoying some of the aforementioned Dick Dale, the Surfaris, the Challengers, the Ventures, even a kind of 80s, 90s group called the Mermen out of California. I want to share a little bit more about them at some other time. But, point being, I turned to surf rock and this type of stuff quite a bit, just as an artificial way of sorts to install some sunshine into my life when days were dark. Sure. And I think my enjoyment and appreciation for that music kind of naturally guided me into this era of King Giz. A little more easily than I think other King Gizzard listeners may have found themselves listening to this album. I imagine a lot of folks in the fan base listen to this and kind of go, "Ooh, that's a little rough for that. That's a little sketchy," in terms of the sound quality, the production, the super simple lyrics and everything. Yeah. But I have to say, just before we get into specifics here, that this album's a little bit of a kick in the ass in kind of a fun way, man. Yeah, for sure. It's one I overlooked for a long time because early on getting into the band, it took me a while to get through their discography and check out all this stuff and familiarize myself with the different genres they've experimented with and whatnot. But these ones, like both Willoughby's and 12 Bar, which I think has a very similar sound, similar energy to it, it is rough when you first hear it, because especially if you're a newer fan that's gotten into the band, within this current decade, like in the 2020s era of the band, and you're used to some of the different sounds they experiment with and the higher production value, and then you go back and it's like, holy shit, what is this? Like, you're listening in headphones and it's a little rough and there's squealing guitars and distortion on the vocals and everything. And so it took me a little bit of time to appreciate these earlier releases, I'd say, but especially now listening to it a bunch, getting ready to talk about it on the show, I've grown a more of an appreciation for it. And yeah, there's not really any particular standout moments that like really bother me or hurt my ears or anything like that. Like the production's rough, but overall it's mixed decently for what it is, and there's nothing super harsh or terrible on my ears about it. So I've grown to appreciate it and dig this sound and this style from them. Yeah, I will give away the fact that I have no production peccadillos on this album.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Their first ever release, and there's no production peccadillos.
Yeah, who'd have thunk, right?
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, I think it would be poignant to mention that given the roughness and the rudimentary nature still of this early release, this album and a couple of its singles actually did very, very well in the early going. After the band was kind of at an underground stage in this time, they were just kind of getting their sea legs as a band, as musicians. In the first run release of this EP, only 350 hand-numbered hard copies were issued to the public.
Were those CDs, do you know? Or
I don't know.
Format?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that, because
they probably weren't doing vinyl yet, because,
Yeah.
I think vinyl wasn't really fully back yet as a big thing like it is now.
Mhm.
And also, vinyl's expensive, so if you're a newer band just starting out, you're probably not pressing vinyls of your first EP or whatever. So.
Totally, yeah. The two singles that were released off the album did very well, hit the charts a little bit. We'll get to the numbers on that a little bit later in the track by track. Also worthy of mentioning, though, on the Flightless label reissue in 2018 that saw all those older Gizzard releases reissued in the year 2018, this one reached number 15 on the ARIA albums chart. That's the main Australia rock charts for albums.
So the reissue put it back on the charts and has got as high as 15.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you'd think it gave them a little bit of a boost, huh?
yeah. That reignited the passion for their old sound, I guess. There's a lot of people who, despite how far they've come since then and the higher production value and all the different styles they've played around with since, there's still those people that really love that original sound and just the rawness, the energy of it. So that speaks for itself, man. Wow.
Totally.
Speaking of the production and the overall style of the album, as far as instrumentation goes, it's pretty simple throughout. It's really just mostly drums, noisy electric guitars, bass, and of course that Ambrose harmonica. He's been shredding on that thing since day one. But there's one particular moment I'll mention later when we get to the song that introduces a very unique instrument that I don't know has been used since on any of their releases, but I'll mention that when we get there. But otherwise, pretty standard kind of rock punk stuff, just a lot of noisy guitars and blown out distorted vocals and all that good stuff. And another interesting thing about this album, we mentioned that, the lyrics throughout it are very simple. And another weird thing about the lyrics is that none of the songs have their title said in the lyrics, with the exception of the first track, Danger Money, because they just say Danger Money over and over again. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, otherwise, every other song just has a random-ass title that seemingly has nothing to do with what the song's about, and it's just a weird phrase or word or two that they just picked, and the songs are seemingly completely unrelated. So, and that's unique for them, because I feel like in the years since, with all the other albums they've put out, I feel like now it's very uncommon to not hear the title of the song in the lyrics.
Now that you mention it,
there's so many, pick any random song off your head, it's probably said in the chorus and probably said multiple times, especially if you pick something like Rattlesnake or whatever, where it's like you're going to hear, whatever the title is, you're going to hear that word over and over again in the song. So yeah, this is very different for them, but you could tell they were just a bunch of kids really just having fun, and one or two of them says like a funny phrase or a word, and they're like, oh, let's call that one song.
That's exactly what I was
Let's call
thinking.
it that, whatever. Like, that sounds funny.
Yes.
So I think that's probably the case for most of those. But yeah, just a funny, unique other little tidbit about this record here. We're accustomed to having one very talented man, Jason Galea, doing the album artwork, but in this case, on their first release, it was not Jason, although he is still credited with editing and layout by Jason Galea, is what it says in the liner notes. So I assume the artwork was then just kind of arranged, or he arranged like where the band's name should be and maybe something like that. But the album artwork was actually the album artwork was actually created by Eakin Harum, if I'm pronouncing that rightly, Eakin or Eichen Harum. And I feel like we've mentioned his name before. Did he do some artwork on one of their other later albums?
No, you know where I think his name came up was on our album artwork showdown episode from way back when.
Maybe that's it. Okay,
that had to have been
so
it.
This is the only record that he did the artwork for.
Yeah.
And everything after, I think, was all Jason ever since. Did he
99% sure,
Did he do 12 Bar also? Because 12 Bar's got a unique look to it too, but I think that was him as well. Maybe. We're not talking about that album yet. We'll figure it out when we get to that one.
We'll go back, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, just interesting to see a different artist's name on the credits for this.
I remember the first time I laid eyes on this album art, I was like, what the fuck is that? So for those who've never seen it, I mean, Google it, pull up a picture, whatever. There's this like part elephant, part rhino, part dragon creature. That's what I'm going with. And he's they just sitting atop this like cresting wave in the ocean and is holding a long red-haired person by the hair.
Yeah.
And this person has like bright yellow skin a la Ed from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. And I can't tell, though, whether this creature is trying to pull this person out of the water and rescue them from the wave, or if it's trying to drown them.
Or it's dipping them down into the wave and trying to kill them. Yeah.
By the menacing look on the creature's face, I would guess the latter. Personally,
yeah, maybe. Although he's kind of smiling a little bit. So either he's friendly or he's smiling at their demise and is enjoying himself. This artwork. This is the first time, not right this second, but getting ready to talk about this album is the first time I've really like stared at it for a good amount of time, and it just perfectly fits the sound of the music. Like, it's just chaotic and trippy, but also very like punk at the same time, like having this weird creature and this drowning person and stuff. Another weird thing, so there's these big swirls in the background, and if you follow them to the center of where those circles are coming from, there's like a head on either wing of the creature. There's like two like kind of humanoid heads jutting out of its wings with these trippy lines coming out of it. Very bizarre, very out there, but like I said, it feels right with this music. I don't know.
Yeah, it has elements of the surf, the punk, the psychedelic, and so I think that it is all encompassing for the genres or subgenres of the music that they touch on here. Okay, so now that you've maybe learned a little something new, hopefully, from those last few minutes of gobbledygoo out of our mouths. Maybe learned a little something new about the background behind this EP. Let's get into the track by track. We're probably going to end up banging these out pretty quick because these are short, they are punchy, and they all begin with track 1, Danger Money.
All right, so we are immediately greeted by some noisy guitar that just sounds right at home for any fans of early Giz. Just these squealing, kind of sliding, chirping up and down the neck of the guitar. It's just noise, but it sounds cool, and it sounds just right for what this is, for this band, and especially at this stage in their career. It starts off slow with that guitar riff, just that but very quickly, about 15 seconds into the track, kicks into double time and seriously amps up the energy and lets you know exactly what you're getting into here.
Yeah, that's something that we're actually going to encounter on several tracks on this EP, where the intro just feels almost tacked on, but sometimes it connects to the rest of the song a little bit, but it'll feel like a jarring, sudden like time signature or tempo change, and you just explained it perfectly there. It's like a double time. All of a sudden they jump in, danger money, danger money, danger. It just captures that punky feel. I will say that this is one of the punkiest feeling songs on this album, and it all takes place over the span of 1 minute and 45 seconds. That is the runtime of this opening track. You get a little bit of punkiness, you get that just fast-paced garage rock feel, you get a wailing harmonica solo from Ambrose at 45 seconds. We should pause here for a second and note that Ambrose, although he does play harmonica on several tracks, does not have any vocal credits on this album. Nope.
Not even any of the backing vocals or anything? He was not on the mic at all at this point.
Just looking at the credits for the album, he was not given any vocal credits.
Okay, because there are a lot of backing vocals, a lot of group vocals where, whatever the particular word or phrase is for each song that's being said over and over, you can hear, group vocals, a whole bunch of them. I didn't mention this at the top going into the album background, but it seems like Stu is the only lead vocal throughout the album.
Yes.
But you do hear other voices. I'm guessing it's maybe it could be a combo of all of the rest of them for all I know, but I'm guessing Joey, maybe Cookie in there as well, doing some of those backing vocals and shouts and whatnot. But interesting that there's no Ambrose on the mic at all.
Very interesting, yeah. And I think maybe they were just having them as they were starting to kind of find their way and figure out their structure and everybody's specialty. They were maybe thinking, okay, we'll let you kind of start off on the harmonica and maybe go from there. It wouldn't be long, of course, in the discography before we heard some Ambrose vocals.
Yeah.
In fact, the very next album would be the first time. But, this is really kind of a fun intro to, the band's first major release. So it's like, okay, this is who we are, at least to this particular moment. We're this punky, crazy-ass group of kids who are in this kind of underground musical project with this weird-ass name. I mean, who calls themselves King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? I'm trying to put myself in 2011 here.
Yeah.
And this is really a rollicking, nutso-crazy introduction to this band for most of the world at large. And as weird and as, crazy and probably unpalatable for a lot of people this song is, this has been one of the more popularly played songs live from this album. They've played this song live 33 times. It went missing from set lists for about 5 or 6 years as the band kind of was dealing with some crowded set list night to night as their discography increased. They actually broke it out 2 times on the 2024 tour, though.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, so some very recent appearances.
Somehow I missed that stat of what the most recent playing of any of these songs was, and I didn't see many that have come up in the last, 10 years. Most of them are they kept playing them till about 2013 or 14 and then sort of got away from it and just played their newer stuff. But wow, yeah, interesting. A couple other moments in the track here that I'll point out. 25 seconds in, there's this long scream, which at first I was thinking could maybe be the band's first ever recorded woo, but it's more of like a whoa, 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 and then he just he turns into like a monkey at the end of it. And just, whoa, whoa, whoa. So, yeah.
The way I thought of that part, it's almost like the band is feeling, okay, here we go, this is our career, we're jumping head first, and all of a sudden this gigantic wave, bigger than expected, is carrying them away, and they're like, it's all happening.
Yeah, sure. Something like that. I can see it. That's the guy on the album cover, screaming as he's being grabbed by this monster.
It's a personification of the band at this early stage.
Yeah. So I mentioned how the song starts off slow, then quickly kicks into double time. At 1 minute and 4 seconds, the song actually goes back to that slower tempo once again, but still with that full noise and energy level. And there's lots of screaming as well, which I'm guessing is probably Stu or maybe a mix of the band members all kind of making noise screaming into the microphone. There's not really any way to tell for sure. As far as the lyrics on this song, normally we, take our time kind of dissecting and looking through different resources to piece together the meaning of them and whatnot. But, the only lyrics on this song are danger money, danger money, danger money, I want danger money. Danger money, danger funny.
Ooh.
There's something new. Danger money, I want danger money. That's the entire lyrics of the song. That's repeated a couple times, and that's it. I don't really know what to say about its meaning. It could be just some kind of inside joke or a phrase one of the band members said, and they thought, hey, that sounds like a song title or something. I would say it's maybe just, if anything, if I could pull any meaning out of it, maybe it's the most basic way of saying money is dangerous or greed causes all sorts of problems in the world, but then what's the danger funny part all about?
Yeah.
What's funny about that? So it just, I don't think it's even worth the time trying to pull anything out of it.
See, my wild guess on this was that the band at this early stage, they're not in it for the money, they're in it for the fun and the love of the game, but they are going to make money along the way, and they do hope to be successful, undoubtedly.
Right, sure.
Perhaps at this early stage, they're all, this is baby Giz, this is kid Giz.
Mm-hmm.
They want money to spend recklessly on frivolous shit, and being the crazy young kids they are at this stage, maybe it makes them feel dangerous when they get those first couple of royalties or paychecks, whatever.
Beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Just weed and beer money at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's my wild guess. You could be right for all we know. Maybe an inside joke or whatever. It could also just very well tie into what you said earlier in our preamble to the album, just maybe they're just goofing around, fucking around, and thinking, danger money, that sounds like a funny name for a song, and then they just rolled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there was a comma, it could be a completely different meaning. If it was danger, comma, money, maybe that would mean something else. I don't know. But that's all we got for that, I think.
Okay. Believe it or not, there are early demo versions of a few songs on this very EP. Songs that already sound kind of rough and ready, sound rougher and less ready on the early demos released under the bootleg Gizzard profile on the listening platforms. Demos Volume 2, Music to Eat Bananas To, is where you will find the demo for Danger Money. Features a similar sound, slightly less reverb. The vocal production, fair warning, is rough.
Yeah.
So prepare yourself.
I didn't get a chance to check it out, so I'm curious now.
There is also a music video. Yes, those also exist at this early stage of the band's career. The music video for Danger Money is simply audio of the song's studio version over footage of live performance at the Tote Hotel in Melbourne. That's all it is. No bells and whistles, no real creative license beyond that.
Yep.
They're keeping it pretty basic at this early stage, as you can understand.
So that's about all we got to say about Danger Money. As you said, we're probably going to be moving through these ones a bit quicker than we usually do on most Giz albums. So moving along, let's check out track number 2. This is Blacktooth.
Joe, I want you to be honest with me. How often do you brush your teeth?
Twice a day.
Okay, good.
Like my dentist told me.
Good. That was the answer I was looking for. Unlike the protagonist in Blacktooth, apparently.
Yeah.
And as we talked about earlier, that a lot of these song titles really don't seem to have any bearing or any relation to the lyrical content or the themes of the song. This is perhaps an exception. Blacktooth is the scientifically correct name for what happens when you don't brush your teeth. They call it Blacktooth. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Oh, well, God damn it. Why'd I fall for that?
Got him. Wow. Got him unexpectedly.
I'm like, there's no way. God damn you.
Well, if you wanted a banger song about brushing your teeth or not brushing your teeth, this has to be the best one out there. Sorry, Chip Skylark from Fairly Odd Parents fame.
Shiny teeth in me.
Shiny teeth, shiny teeth.
This is the opposite. This is evil Chip Skylark.
Bizarro World Chip Skylark. But dude, track 2, banger. Just gonna say it right now. This is a fun tune. This is where the surfiness comes in. This was, by the way, the first single off the album. It got some radio play across Australia in its day. In fact, the inaugural tour in 2011 for the band was named the Blacktooth Tour.
Oh, I somehow missed that fact as well. That's interesting.
Courtesy of KGLW.net, where, of course, a lot of our research comes from for each of these album discussion episodes. So clearly this was like an early favorite, both for the band and for a lot of the kind of the smaller circle of fans that would have been following them at this point. It was evident that this was one of the bigger hooks off of Willoughby's Beach.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. You know, I feel like this one has remained kind of a favorite from these early releases. Like, this is one you hear. I just feel I don't have any like source to actually reference for this, but like I feel like I just hear this song get brought up more in discussions of like people's kind of favorite earlier tracks. And also I feel like this one has maybe been given some love and played on a little more recent tours as well. It's come up here and there. Did they play it at all this past year, or maybe in 2024 did they play it? I feel like it wasn't that long ago.
So it has actually made a small handful of appearances on stage over the last 3 years. It hasn't by any means been a regular member of the set list, but it has made its appearances the last couple years, which is good to see.
Yeah.
This is also, on that note, 36 live performances. That is the most of any Willoughby's Beach song.
Okay.
And of course it would be this one.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it was the first single. It's one that people still love today, and it's a catchy-ass song. It's one of my favorites, and I like to not to spoil anything before we give our favorites and least favorite at the end of the show, but yeah, this is a great song. This is very catchy. This song's interesting. It's kind of like the opposite of the first track, where instead of starting slow and then getting faster, it actually starts faster with a really fast guitar, and then it slows down when all the other instruments kick in. It drops in tempo. But it's not too slow. It finds this nice kind of mid-tempo groove, and it's just perfect to bob your head to, stomp your foot to, whatever. It's got some of that feedback delay guitar effect that we know and love all too well at this point. Yeah, exactly that. It's got a lot of that. So there's all these little elements. There's these little pieces in a bunch of these songs that kind of are the like origin of a lot of things that we expect and know and love now with some of their more recent music.
Yeah, that Gizzy guitar feedback goes back a long ways, and this is kind of one of those benchmark songs where that's the case. I also just love the surfy sounding chords and the surfy sounding like reverb quality on that guitar. That
the higher pitch like lead guitar
progression of chords too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I could go back and comb through the catalogs of some of the names of those 60s surf rock bands I mentioned earlier, like the Ventures or Dick Dale, and there would be a riff very similar to this Blacktooth riff, I would venture to bet. Venture. Let's talk about the few lyrics that exist. According to this song, not brushing teeth is bad. I would agree with that. But talking in your sleep is also bad. Apparently that's cause for concern for the parents of the protagonist in this song. Yeah, Mama said I'm not okay because I've been talking in my sleep. And Dad said I'm not okay because I don't ever brush my teeth. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's all the lyrics, by the way.
That is all the lyrics,
lyrics,
except for the vocalizations which I have a semi-theory about that. I have this thought that it's almost like someone is verbalizing and singing the mouth shapes that one makes when brushing teeth.
Oh, interesting.
As you're trying to get the molars, then the bicuspids, and then the incisors.
Yeah, well, look at you and your tooth knowledge.
I can point to each of them exactly.
Yeah?
No.
As I said, that full sentence that you read out was the entirety of the lyrics, but compared to Danger Money, these are a lot of words. There's like a whole narrative going on here. There's a story in comparison. There's a whole lot. But, yeah, that's it. The AOA is catchy, is fun. I will say, even if it doesn't count as actual words and lyrics, it's still fun. It's catchy. And actually, like, almost every single song on this album has vocalizations like that, like A's and Ah's and oohs and
oohs and
oohs and ah's and e's, and yeah, there's a lot of those, so we'll kind of touch on each of them as we go, but this is the first of many of that kind of thing to come.
The backing vocals are kind of a shining star for the band on this album. This is one of the songs on the album that I think that's really especially the case. There's one backup singer, I don't know if it's Joey or Cookie or Lukey, who, by the way, has some vocal credits on this album.
Okay.
We don't have the track-by-track breakdown for some of these
Yeah, you just kind of have to guess, and especially with the distortion on the vocals and how kind of far back in the mix it is, just being backing vocals, it's nearly impossible to tell who's who.
Yeah. However, you get some surprising little production quirks listening in headphones. Even as far back as here on Willoughby's Beach, there's one backing vocal panned far left and one panned right on this song, and you're going to encounter that on several other songs here on Willoughby's Beach. So that's a cool little touch, and I don't know what exactly this is. It's basically nothing but just in an album that's kind of devoid of meaning in so many ways. Just these fun little quirky moments are fun to point out. At the end, somebody goes, plop. Did you notice that?
I don't think I did, but I did notice the whatever like scream, the weird thing that Stu does, but I didn't hear the plop.
Yeah, it's like a blop or a plop or a bop. I don't know what it is, but it's near the very end, right as that final chord's ringing out.
Okay, I just played a second of that on my phone just so I can hear what you're talking about. And I must have heard it. It's not like that quiet. It's pretty prominent, but I just, for some reason, it didn't register anything in my brain to make a note of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun, weird little things like that. Especially, there's a couple of songs where there are weird just noises that one of them will make at the end of the track. So, yeah, we'll get to more of those later as well.
Another music video. 2 for 2 on songs having music videos here on Willoughby's Beach. This one is a little different, though. This shows an elephant. Only an elephant. And there are all these different, like, very basic effects. Like, there's a mirroring effect on the elephant, like it's out in the wilderness, like in the, in Africa somewhere, this giant elephant. And, there's like a mirror flipping effect where the images kind of split. There's like a color filter. Not a ton going on, but very different from the Danger Money music video. But
does this elephant at least have black tusks to fit with the meaning of the song? Or
no, and for the sake of the elephant's health, I'm glad to see that it does not have black tusks.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
And that is all I have to say about that.
We're going to be saying that phrase at the end of every track.
Definitely. Well, dude, I think we should pick up the pace. We don't want to let it get too late because, you know what? I got to wake up early in the morning because they make me get up in the morning.
Wait, on a Saturday? It's Friday right now.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Whew, thank God.
No, don't, you don't have to get up. No work.
Let's go to track 3, Lunch Meat.
Okay, Lunch Meat, the shortest track on Willoughby's Beach at just 1 minute and 40 seconds. Again, we have lots of super noisy, super reverbed out guitar. Again, there's a little bit of a guitar intro before the song actually kicks in, that little boom, bam, boom. It's cool. I love the sound of that, just those bent high chords and stuff. Just cool, just fun. I like the weird just playing around they're doing with the intros and outros on these tracks before they kick in. This song is very fast, a little bit of an increase in pace from the last track, but it's steady and straight ahead, 4 on the floor kind of beat. Real foot stomper, honestly, with the kind of like, I don't even know what you would call it, like a galloping kind of, almost like a rockabilly or something, kind of chugging along beat. Doom, ducka, doom, ducka, doom, ducka, doom. I don't even know what other words to describe it, but that makes sense, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like somebody like Elvis or one of his early contemporaries could have very well played a song with a backbeat like that. Kind of Road Train-like, as we kind of had you said in an off-mic exchange just a minute ago.
Yeah, almost like a precursor to that Road Train kind of rhythm.
I have in my notes for this song breakneck tempo and punky. Yeah, because this is where the punk energy returns after we had a bigger dose of the surf vibes on the last track. But yeah, this one goes so fast and so hard. Lots of woos and oohs. It's just the tip of the iceberg. That's going to be the case for the rest of these tracks, man.
Yeah, and as you mentioned in the intro to this song, you kind of spoke on the lyrics a little bit. They make me get up in the morning. That's the only words, and then, of course, more vocalizations. And that's it. Those are all of the vocals for this song. They make me get up in the morning. Why is the song called Lunch Meat? It's not called morning. It's not called, like, sleepy, let me sleep in, I'm sleepy.
I'm sleeping in would happen later.
I don't want to work. Let me sleep, Mom. I don't want to go to school. I don't know. It's not called anything like that.
5 more minutes, Mom.
5 more minutes, Mom. It should be called 5 more minutes, Mom. That's a great name for the song.
I have a fun idea for an exercise after we're done with this. Let's make up alternative titles for every one of these songs.
That fit better with the words. Yes. And if you've got any in mind, send them to us. That could be a fun little side project here.
Here we go. This one is unofficially named 5 More Minutes, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay,
I love it.
I do have a loose theory for why they decided to call this one Lunch Meat,
okay,
though. I'm just thinking, picturing a teenager like reluctantly getting up early in the morning to get ready for school. He's grabbing the lunch meat out of the fridge and throwing together a sandwich and grabbing a banana and a cookie, throwing it all into a brown bag. This guy's trying to maximize every last minute of sleep, and then all of a sudden when that last alarm goes off, it's like, oh shit, got to get ready. And lunch meat is a whole part of that morning process.
Lunch meat is just like one of those elements of getting ready for the day, reluctantly getting up and getting ready to start your day, whether it's for school or whatever. That's possible. Or it's either that or we just shouldn't think about it and it just means nothing.
That could be.
That's pretty much all these songs. It's like we have like some little bits of like, here's what I think maybe they were kind of getting the name from, or something completely else that's totally unrelated and they just thought it was funny and they just said, like, maybe they were like in the studio recording this and they're all hanging out and one of their moms made them sandwiches or something while they're writing, like, oh, you and your band friends hungry, you guys want some, like, Mom, not right now, Mom, like maybe there's some kind of situation. Oh no, we're making a rock and roll album. Stay out of my room.
Get out, Mom.
Get out of my room. But who knows, but I like your theory. That's good.
Cool. Well, what's also funny though, at 50 seconds, Stu starts laughing mid-vocal. He starts another one of the refrains, "They make me get up in the morning," and it almost sounds like his voice comes close to cracking. I think he came in a little hotter on singing than he meant to.
He was still going through puberty at the time, he's a young lad.
and then he's like continuing singing the phrase, like, "Hey, make me get up in the morning." You can almost detect a chuckle there.
Yeah.
So listener, go back and listen to that. It's easy to miss, but I heard it for the first time sitting at a coffee shop this morning, like combing through things once more, and that cracked me up because it was like a funny little moment there.
This song ends in a big explosion of the drums going wild. There's all these crazy guitar noises and stuff happening. Big fun finish of them just making noise. And then at a minute 34 seconds, right as it's kind of fading out, Stu just goes, bah! Like makes more. So once again, that's two songs back to back where he just like screams a noise into the microphone. And again, just a lot of fun little stuff like that.
Sometimes you gotta stim,
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let the intrusive thoughts to make noises when you're holding a microphone.
That's right.
Whatever comes out, just let it happen. All right, well, moving right along here, keeping our steady pace going with these quick little tracks. Let's move on to track number 4. This is Crocodile.
So a unique rarity in this era of King Giz, and that is that we have a track-to-track blend here going from 3 to 4. Coming out of Lunch Meat, coming into Crocodile here on track 4, there's kind of a natural flow from the end of the former into the latter here, and it creates kind of this almost non-stop, like, auditory illusion, maybe. I don't know if the band truly recorded them back to back, but at least the way it was mixed and produced here, it sure sounds like they did.
Yeah. This song definitely continues that similar kind of heavy, faster energy. To me, this is like the perfect example of that dark surf rock kind of sound. That
Cowabunga.
Yeah, it's like cowabunga, but in hell. And I think we said a similar thing about one of the songs off Mind Fuzz. I think maybe we made a similar comparison of like, oh, this is
I'm not in your mind.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it's like you're surfing through hell. Yeah, because there's the one part of that song where it goes in this real surf rocky kind of instrumentation on the guitar, and yeah, this reminds me of that a lot.
Yeah, I think that the part right after the Streets of Cairo riff where it goes into the
yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's I love that.
Yeah, definitely cut from a similar cloth. And this song is also notable in that it's the band's first ever reference to both crocodilians and religion/spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So killing two birds with one stone here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where to start between the two. Let's just start with the title and the crocodilians thing. This is obviously something that would become a trademark of sorts, not in a true sense, but a trademark of sorts, touch in the band's image. This was, keep in mind, like still 4 years before the gator little character came along as the band's de facto mascot.
Right, from the River music video.
Yeah, but it also does kind of tie in a little bit to the mysterious creature on the album cover, potentially, and it also ties into the band's name, which obviously was finalized by this point.
Right.
But, beyond that, I don't know why they decided to call the song Crocodile. Here's my wild guess, as we've been doing on every song so far. My wild guess here is that one of the guys wanted to call the song Crocodile and said Crocodile, but the other guy in the conversation misheard and thought they said Crocodile. My best guess. I could totally be full of shit. I don't know.
I mean, just the word on its own is, just like a combination of crooked and crocodile, like some sort of evil, twisted crocodilian creature of some kind. As far as how does that relate to like the song or the lyrics, I mean, once again, it's like there's like nothing there. I don't really know, because the lyrics are simply just say, God, he's on your side. He's on your side. Just that, repeated over and over again. And then some squealing and some screaming and some growls from Stu. There's all kinds of crazy noises that he makes. But yeah, that's another one where it's like, It's referencing God, as that was the other thing you said. It's like their first reference of like religion in like a theme of a song, which has come up now and again in a handful of different tracks and albums. But I don't really know what else to make of it. It's really just that one simple sentence. It can be kind of, I don't know, kind of poking fun at like people who are religious and, think that like, oh, no matter what I do, God will take care of me kind of thing. Like anyone who's sort of like people that don't really take like responsibility for certain things or take action against or towards something because like, oh, it's all in God's hands, like whatever, when they could be actually making meaningful change on their own, accord instead of just trusting in a deity or whatever. And the band, at least Stu, I believe all of them are all atheists. They've spoken out against religion in some of their songs. And I actually remember one show, it might have been one of the more recent ones in the last year or two, but I remember Stu at some point just saying like, God's not real or something into the microphone, like before or after a song. So, that's something that they think about and have kind of a hard stance on in certain songs. And so I don't know if it's about something like that.
Yeah, you kind of went down a path that's similar to what I arrived at, actually. The lyric, just say God is on your side. I think it is potentially meant as a sneer because, as you just said, they are notably anti-organized religion, generally speaking, as a band.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
it. Maybe their youthful way of saying to hypocrites, like, yeah, fine, go ahead and use God or use religion to justify your evil actions, which could then tie into the crocodile, naming concept, crooked creature, evil being. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basic thoughts, ramblings, whatever you want to call it. A very straightforward song, even though we called it for what it was, kind of a badass dark surf sound, but really not a lot of variety or changes in this one, even compared to the preceding 3 tracks on this album. A very basic kind of staid, constant arrangement to this track. However, you mentioned something earlier in this episode, Joe, and I wonder if this is what you were talking about. An instrument that we haven't really heard before or since. Is this that song?
Yeah, this is the song. This is the one. So I noticed when listening to the song that there's some of these like high-pitched kind of squealing sounds in some spots that almost sound like just a synth going crazy or like a really weird guitar effect or something. I actually very clearly hear them at the end of the song, but a little bit earlier at just after the minute mark, you can hear this, and it's kind of closer to the right channel if you're listening in headphones. And that sound is, in fact, a theremin, and I don't think the band has ever used one since. I don't recall ever talking about it, seeing that in any credits, hearing it anywhere, anything that sounded like that. And I believe it's Eric playing it because I didn't look at the exact credits for it. Is he credited with that?
It is Eric.
Okay, that makes sense. And the reason I thought it was Eric is when I was looking on kglw.net, sort of the history page that they have of this song, there is a couple videos of them playing the song live, and I just happened to click on one of them, and it looked like it was like an outdoor show. I forget exactly where it was, but somewhere around Melbourne, I'm sure. Like they were still kind of in their earlier days, definitely in Australia. And, relatively small crowd kind of sitting down in the grass watching them play, and it is really funny because they're going like ape shit on stage, full energy. Stu's usual like holding the guitar up high and his eyes are rolling to the back of his head, and they're all jumping around. And then like at the very end of the song, the camera pans to the crowd, and it's just this very chill, like people just clapping. They're all sitting in the grass, like just a family kind of event at a park or something with local bands or something, I guess. But anyway, in that video, I knew it was Eric playing the theremin because they actually had one on stage. And so in those sections where it was like, I guess the verses are when they're saying the lines of like, just say God is on your side, he's on your side. And then he just goes like, he's on your, and then it kicks into like the louder, it gets kind of louder. And I guess that's kind of the chorus. But those sections is where like Eric would stop playing it during the verses, and then you'd see him jump back over towards the theremin and just flail his arm like fucking crazy, like around the side of it, just making crazy noises. And the whole time he's got a beer in the other hand. So he's got a beer in one hand and the other hand's just flailing at the theremin, making all kinds of crazy noises. And like in between when he's not playing it, he'll just walk up closer to like the edge of the stage, just kind of be sitting there like jamming, and then he just gets sucked back in. he's like possessed by it, just woo, like flailing his arm. It's really funny. But yeah, once I saw that video, that confirmed for me, oh, that's what that sound is. And he's literally playing it on stage. That's so cool. So all of that just to say, yeah, a theremin, really unique instrument, and cool use of it. It works in the song. It feels right. It just adds to the chaos.
Yeah, it just adds that kind of woo, like that rising and falling and rising again. It's almost like waves undulating, very appropriately for a song with a surfy vibe like this.
Sure, yeah.
And dude, I want to try a theremin for myself one day.
I've always kind of wanted one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, I seem to remember though a quote from Stu that at this point would be a few years into the future that Stu said something like, in the early days we had Eric playing the theremin or some shit instead of the second drum kit along with Cab.
So that was like a regular thing, or
somewhat regular. I like you, I haven't gone and looked at if there are any other theremin credits for Eric on other albums.
Yeah, I gotta look back into that now and figure that out.
This is the only one as of this recording that I'm aware of for sure. But yeah, I actually took several listens to this album because I saw on the Wikipedia page that Eric was credited with a theremin, and I'm listening over and over again. Thankfully, this album's short, and I'm like, where the hell is the theremin? I don't hear it. But it finally came to me.
Okay, so you had the opposite of me where you saw the credit first and then had to go back and find it. For me, I heard it, didn't recognize it as a theremin right away, and then just happened to see that video, and that's where I was like, oh, it's a theremin. It's Eric going apeshit on a theremin. Okay, cool.
Going apeshit on a theremin, not words that you hear together in a sentence normally.
Nope. At 2 minutes, 10 seconds, I think it's the very last repetition of that lyric, but when Stu sings, he's on your side for the last time. When he hits the side, the word side, he screams it on the very last time. Just sounds like an absolute psycho, just screaming it, and yeah, he's just screaming bloody murder in that very last delivery, and as I said, you hear that theremin prominently at the end as well as everything's kind of ringing out. The theremin's just going like woo 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 at the very end, and then speaking of woo noises, and Stu goes like woo 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 like 3 or 4 times right at the end as well.
The woos were there from the very beginning, folks. So, chaos has reigned for 4 tracks. So, I think it's appropriate now as we approach track 5 to just relax a little bit, sit back for a moment, enjoy something a little slower paced, something to chill out to. Track number 5, Let It Bleed.
Let It Bleed is now the longest song on the album. We've already done the shortest. This is the longest at just 3 minutes and 14 seconds. So it is a quick one, but in comparison to all these other songs, actually sounds like a nice normal full song length. And one new addition that we get in this song that we haven't heard yet is there's some acoustic guitar, which is really cool. Just the overall kind of main guitar that's filling in the whole track is just strummed acoustic guitar chords. And of course, we also have some electric guitar on top with some lead parts and whatnot. One thing I immediately want to point out with the beginning of this song and just the overall sound of it is that those strummed chords that are on the electric guitar, that and it sounds like they're using like a whammy bar, kind of manipulating the pitch, like and it's also drenched in reverb, of course, too, which just kind of adds to that style and that sound. But the overall sound of that kind of gives me a little bit of hint of Float Along a little bit. Like I feel like this song kind of has some of those psych elements and something about just that heavy reverb and the tone of the guitar. The fact that the song's a little slower just kind of gives me like precursor to that full-on Giz psychedelia that would come a couple albums later.
Full on. Oh, sorry, it's head on.
Full on.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, because so many of the other songs, or almost all of them, lean a lot more into that like punky surf rock, faster paced energy, and that just it makes this one stand out a lot more.
Okay, so where my mind went on that part was just laying back, kicking back on the beach. Like those first couple of strums, it's just like, it's a warm day, blue skies.
Goo Lagoon.
There are seagulls flying by, and it's like one of those happy place kind of songs. It really establishes a mood and a sense of place. But yeah, I like your comparison to kind of like you're likening it to a precursor to Float Along. There's certainly something there. I think the band, this is maybe early evidence that the band had a hunger to branch out a little more. They wanted to go beyond the surfy, punky stuff and go a little deeper into the psychedelia. So this song I really consider a highlight and a standout stylistically on the album, not just because they slow it down, but because it shows that they do have that gentler touch. It's not all balls to the wall, crazy-ass energy. They can slow it down. They can change it up. And with this being the longest track on the album, as you mentioned, 3 minutes, 13 seconds, I'm glad they not only let it bleed, they let it breathe. It would have been a crying shame if they had cut this song down to 2:10 or something.
Yeah.
So tremendous choice there to stretch this one out a little bit. And a couple other highlights on the track. A nice wailing harmonica from Ambi that kind of beefs up the middle section. So it's not all just laziness. There's a little muscle behind it.
I love the sound of the harmonica on this song. I mean, there's some great harmonica on the other tracks. Some of the other ones, it's great because it's so chaotic and loud and wailing. But on this song, it's kind of pretty and nice and fits the overall vibe of the whole track nicely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What I think is really a shame, though, is this song has only been performed live 3 times.
That's crazy.
It's never left Australia. Its last performance, New Year's Eve 2011 in Melbourne.
Wow.
So I won't pretend that this
is... Wait, so as in New Year's Eve 11 going into 12?
Yes.
As in 3 months after the album came out?
Yeah.
Just that year? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So so many of these songs on this album were just there today and boom, gone the next, pretty much the moment 12
They left it in 2011. It was never seen again.
All this talk about nostalgia for 2016. How about some love for 2011? Hello.
Yeah.
So, like I said, kind of a highlight, a standout, at least stylistically. A couple of other cool little arrangement choices that they made in crafting this song. 1 minute 44 seconds, several instruments and other sounds just drop out of the mix, and you hear just the acoustic guitar and the drums, plus the ooze vocalizations. And it's like a peaceful come down that comes right after the amped up harmonica shred from Ambi. And then shortly after that, 2 minutes, 22 seconds, back into another refrain, which I want to contest something here. Title, at least, shows the lyrics as, I want to see my lover. I have always heard it as, I want to see my lovebird.
Yeah.
Okay,
and you know what?
Too.
So, okay, YouTube Music, same thing. I think it just said lover, and I was like, no, he definitely says lovebird in there.
There's a separation and there's a B. Right?
Yeah, and then so I cross-referenced that with the lyrics page on kglw.net because if anyone's going to know better, it should be them, right? Mm-hmm. They have lovebird written there.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
And so did genius.com as well. Just to pull up another source, I checked them as well because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, originally I thought, okay, maybe he goes back and forth and says both, but there's definitely a bird in there somewhere. But no, the entire time he's saying lovebird.
Yeah.
According to those other sources. I mentioned this before. Can't trust the lyrics thing on YouTube Music. They have put some crazy shit in there before. I think on our poly discussion, I had some weird results from looking at the lyrics on there. So
Crown and Candle is lost in me.
I don't know how you remembered that, but yes, that was it.
I think it helped that was the episode title for part 2.
Oh, that's right. That was.
So, yeah, that I can't believe that so many listening platforms didn't get that through their skulls. No. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Pun totally intended. Yeah. I think also the choice to use the term lovebird also kind of it hints at the vintage feel of this song. Lovebird is a term that I do not hear used in the year 2020, 2026 now, I guess. That strikes me as one of those old, 50s, 60s. I feel like I would have read somebody using that in an Archie comic, like those Archie comics from decades
Look
ago.
at you two lovebirds.
Yeah, look at those lovebirds over there sipping on that milkshake.
It's like something you'd say, like if you had a friend or something that was like in a newer relationship and you want to make them feel really uncomfortable and awkward, be like, hey, what are you two lovebirds up to? Yeah. Definitely an older style kind of term that I've heard thrown around a little bit in my lifetime, but definitely currently in the current year of our Lord 2026, it is not a term that not a phrase you hear a lot.
No. Speaking of, though, the older decades, the 60s in this case, Let It Bleed is a title that probably rings a bell for a lot of rock fans. It's a Rolling Stones album, and its title track that bear that name.
I was waiting for you to bring this up because you are the resident classic rock expert on the podcast here, and I knew that name sounded familiar when I looked at the name of the track. I'm like, isn't that a Rolling Stones song or something? And yeah, song and album from 1969, I believe, right?
Yeah, 1969. That's an album that was actually a lot more notorious for bearing the singles Gimme Shelter and You Can't Always Get What You Want.
Yeah, those were the two real big ones from that.
Yeah, but I listened to Let It Bleed, which also I think did well in its own right. It's stylistically very different. There is acoustic guitar in there, but it's a weirdly like woozy kind of off-kilter sounding song. Worth a listen if you the listener have never heard it before. Kind of low-key druggy a little bit, which late 60s Rolling Stones, surprise.
Yeah.
But it's a cool one. That being said, though, there are really no like thematic overlaps or similarities whatsoever. So where the title came from here, I have no clue.
No idea. Only the boys will know.
There's also a demo available for listening on all the major platforms for this. The aforementioned Demos Volume 2 bears a demo of Let It Bleed. Features the same lyrics that Stu sings in pretty much the same melody, but it's way more up-tempo, as a matter of fact. It's not a slow ballady song in its demo form. It features a heavily fuzzed-out guitar. The drums really sound like a keyboard preset, kind of like one that I would conjure up on my keyboard here at home. It's really like it's just so artificial sounding, and lots of high-pitched guitar squeal. That's one that can be real harsh and grating on the ears. So if you do decide to check that one out, be aware.
Yeah, be ready. One thing that's kind of funny about the way they wrap this song up at the end is, it ends with the harmonica honking and guitar strumming on a note, and the way that they're both going, like the song already kind of ended, and then both the harmonica and guitar start making noise, and it almost sounds like they're picking up like energy, like as if it's about to kick into a new section of the song or build up and fade right into the next, more energetic song or something. But no, they just kind of make noise and it ends, and that's the end of it. There's, nothing really else to that. No perfect flow into the next track. Although there is a very energetic song coming up next that it does go into. So in a way, it's kind of like a hint at like, all right, there's something a little more upbeat getting back to the energy after this one. And that next very energetic and chaotic song is Deadbeat.
And we're back, baby. Giz bringing the energy again, a little surf, a little punk, and a lot of energy. Man, this one really picks it right back up here as we go on to side B of the album.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most like straight ahead punk sounding song on the whole record. It just has this very classic, like the delivery of the verses and just the simple 4-chord progression and super fast. Everything about it just screams like this is just a straight up punk song.
Would you believe it if I told you this was the second single the band released off the album?
I would believe it because I also had to do research before doing this podcast.
Okay.
Listen, I don't pick up on everything. You've had a couple things so far that I missed, but that was one of them. I got that one. Yes.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised though when I did read that this was the second single because I don't know, something about it doesn't sound like fully representative of the overall sound of the album, or I don't know.
It doesn't sound very singly. So yeah, that's why I was surprised too in a similar way. And yeah, I actually have in my notes, second single, parentheses, why, 2 question marks.
Why?
But it got heavy radio play in Australia. People loved it. People liked it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I would imagine, it was their very first introduction to King Giz. An interview with Eric Moore, our lovely little boy.
A lovely little boy.
Interviewed with Upstart, which was an Australian, and is, I think, I believe they're still operational, an Australian digital publication. Around that time, he said, our single Deadbeat getting playlisted for high rotation on Triple J, which was a radio station, and being booked for Meredith, an annual music festival in Australia, really early on whipped us into line. So, unexpectedly, yeah, if you had quizzed me before I even knew this factoid, which single would fulfill the, this is the one that kind of got spammed all over the airwaves, I guess after Blacktooth or before Blacktooth, other than Blacktooth, I would not have guessed this one, but it was the one.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a standout single kind of track to me, but I'm glad it worked for them the way it did, and it got some heavy rotation on some Australian radio stations and got them into that music festival and things like that. I mean, that's a big deal for them just starting out, and the fact that this song alone, really helped kind of give them that push that they needed at the beginning is really interesting. You wouldn't really think of it when you hear it.
No,
But either way, it's still a good song. Still a very fun song. That's not to say that I don't like it or anything like that. I'm not surprised because I don't think it's good. I just don't think it's the most, representative or the most like single sounding of some of these other songs. Like with Blacktooth, it makes sense to me. Like that one to me sounds right for a single. But either way, it worked out great for them. As I mentioned, it's a really simple, just 4-chord progression on the guitar, just kind of goes up and back, and that's it the whole entire time. As far as lyrics go, once again, we can very easily just read the entire lyrics to you right now. Pull my finger and punch my face. You're all happy because my nose is bleeding all over the place. And then more vocalizations, just like all the other songs. The song, as far as any meaning behind it, just kind of seems like, well, the song's called Deadbeat, so either that's the protagonist or that's the person that he's kind of up against and in an altercation with, that's like punching him in the face and making his nose bleed. Either that person's a deadbeat or he's a deadbeat for getting into fights like that in the first place and getting himself into some shit.
I'm really disappointed that if they really wanted to take the sophomoric attitude and thoughts and lyrics an extra mile, which we're going to get in a little bit deeper into that a couple tracks from now, by the way, the line, pull my finger, I mean, come on. It's right there.
It's right there.
There could have been, even if not like a vocalization, there could have been in the background like a guitar or something.
Sound?
Imitating a...
yeah.
Come on, King Giz, get it right.
Because like it's such a weird thing back to back. Like pull my finger and punch my face. Like who pulls on your finger? Like if they're like messing with you or trying to fight you, no one does that.
No.
Like I have no idea where his head was at writing this. Like it's one thing if you're describing like a fight and people messing with you and like punch me in the face, my nose bleeding all over the place. Okay, cool. But like the pull my finger part is just like what are we doing here?
There is a music video for this song, by the way, made by Sid Row Productions, and it features intermittently fisheye lens footage of the band performing live somewhere, interspersed with some old film snippets of wilderness. It'll show animals in their natural habitats, some open grassy plains, some mountainous terrain. It even shows a Native American man in traditional dress a couple of times.
Hinting at their second album? Second album, third release.
Yeah, hey, it could be.
I don't know.
Now, but it's very random, and something like so punky and energetic like this just seems a very odd fit with something that seems like it belongs in like a nature documentary or a historical documentary.
That's 2 videos now where it just features something from nature and is really weird and has nothing to do with the song at all.
I will say I enjoy how old the film looks. It's like legitimate film. It looks like it's from maybe the late 60s or the 70s. Kind of that grade of grainy color footage. It's really cool. And that's really all there is to say about this song.
Yep.
Please say we move along, Joe.
All right, let's keep it going. We only got a couple tracks left.
Let's plow right along to track number 7, Dustbin Fletcher.
So, according to a quote from Joey before they played this song at a show in 2011, he said, "This next song is called Dustbin Fletcher, named after our favorite Essendon veteran." Now, I didn't know anything about this. I don't watch what most of the world calls football and we call soccer very much. I don't follow that. And Australian football is its own completely other thing that's not even the same sport. So I don't know anything about this. But Dustin Fletcher was a player for the Essendon, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Essendon Australian Football Club. However, the songs and the lyrics have nothing to do with him or Aussie football, or footy as they may call it. We might know another song that comes a little later. Footy, yeah. So, yeah, but it's so random. Like this guy, I guess, who was a big star player for this team, and I guess Joey or a couple of them kind of grew up or, were watching him, were fans of that team, whatever. Okay, fine. But just like adding a B into his name, like instead of Dustin Fletcher, it's just Dustbin Fletcher, is just so like, just a random one of those silly, just like bunch of young guys, bunch of kids, just like call it just Dustbin Fletcher. Like, I guess, I don't know if they use the term dustbin for like trash can or for, is it like a
trash can or dustpan? I don't know.
Or one of those. Yeah, maybe a dustpan is like what we would call it. But either way, just this random kind of funny thing. And even after like reading about like who Dustin Fletcher is after the fact, I'm like, it just made it funny to me because it's just I was like, oh, just slightly change this guy's name and call your song that for no reason. It has nothing to do with him or sports or anything.
Yeah. Oh, we should remind listeners, especially newer listeners, we're both sports guys. We're both sports fans as you're sitting there on the couch with your Phillies hoodie on.
Yep.
But we know nothing about Aussie rules football. Zero. But yeah, I came to similar findings with my research, and I have to say though that seems to be something that's outside of your personal experiences, kind of like messing with a player's name, like a professional athlete's name.
Yeah.
I used to do this all the time with my brother and one of our cousins. We would play all the sports video games, Madden or MVP baseball, and we would make like player puns all the time, like with their names. Like Gary Sheffield, the former Major League Baseball All-Star, became Gare Bear Sheffield.
Yeah,
that was a SpongeBob reference
Gare Bear,
way back when. Yep. There are other examples, but I know my brother's probably listening into this. He could probably send in a few more examples. But knowing that was the origin behind this name, that made me laugh, because if I had a band for myself, I would have 100% have done something similar with a Major League Baseball player's name.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely see myself in situations where, you just change one little thing in a name based on, like, some conversation you're having with friends, and you just say some random shit once, and it's just funny and whatever. So I could definitely see how they might have come up with that. It's just funny, once again, here's just a random-ass thing that one of them said, and it became a song title for a song that has no connection at all to the title.
Okay, let's talk about the actual song, shall we?
Yeah.
Because this is a good song.
Oh, yeah.
I like it a lot. And I have in my notes, makes me feel, all caps, happy. It's another one of your classic surfy chord progressions. I can picture just this, some muscular dude who's an avid surfer, just like surfboard tucked under his arm, racing up to water's edge and just boom, going for it.
This song should make you happy then, Spencer, because it is good. Because it is good.
And it's all fine.
It's all fine. Because it's all fine. And I hope this gets me high. That's it. Those are all the lyrics. Once again, we can just read them all out just like that.
But you forgot, ooh, and some whoa, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, how could I forget? That's the best. Whoa, uh-oh, whoa, uh-oh. Whoa, uh-oh, whoa, uh-oh. So more vocalizations. Again, it's almost every single song has the oohs and ahs and woes. But really upbeat, really fast paced. Another simple progression, simple song. But overall, it's really groovy and fun. One of those, another surfy foot stomper here.
I have a hot take for this song. No, I like it.
Not a production peccadillo.
No. I promised at the top of the show. I'm not taking that back.
Okay.
No, I like this song and everything about it. I think this was placed incorrectly on the album.
Yeah.
I really feel like this should have been the closer.
Oh.
Something about it, it's happy, joyful, just overwhelming pep.
Yeah.
Just screams closer to me. And if not at the end of the EP, at the end of a live show, for sure.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like, I closed my eyes once after listening to this a couple weeks back, and I'm just picturing like 2011. The band is really young. They're hungry. They're trying to make it big, and they're playing in front of these small crowds. And I'm imagining this crowd is just like probably zooted out of their minds, but they're like bopping a beach ball around in the crowd,
right?
Good vibes, and it's just this happy sing along that fans can like partake in because they go through it so many times. Whoa,
right. It's really easy to catch on to and get people singing even if they don't know the music.
And I can like picture Stu like almost trying to like lock eyes with fans as he's up at the mic doing the whoa, like trying to encourage them to join along.
Look at each person, whoa, and then pointing over there, whoa,
yeah.
Or they say the whoa, and then the crowd goes, whoa, it's like, yeah, I can see
exactly.
It.
So
I see the vision.
I'm imagining something like that, and it just bears the feeling of, we're so glad you joined us today. We hope you've had a lot of fun. Here's one more banger for you before you go out into the world and spread all the peace and love.
Yeah, peace and love, peace and
peace
love.
And love. Just remember, no more fan mail.
No more we can't get started with this. We're going to be doing the whole thing.
Ringo.
Yeah, I could definitely see that though. The upbeat nature of it, the fun, the all good vibes, almost feels like it could have been a good like stamp at the end of the EP and like almost like credits rolling. Like here's like the happy fun thing at the end of the good ending of a rom-com or something, or like some silly like comedy movie. Everything comes to a good ending, and then just. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I could see what you're onto there. I like that.
Yeah, you also make a good point there. Yeah, the end of a movie, the end of a rom-com, like it's kind of like end credits rolling.
Yeah,
vibes.
Yeah. I picture the credits. Sometimes I hear a song like that, and I'm like, this sounds like, boom, the last scene. Something happens, and then just cut to black, and this song kicks in. Like sometimes I hear songs, and I picture it in a movie like that.
Yeah,
specifically. Yeah.
Yet another straightforwardly arranged and composed song. Interesting though, I think a characteristic that sets this one apart from others on the album is that as upbeat and sunny as this is, the electric guitar doesn't do as much work as it does on other songs, especially during the, I don't know if you call it verses, choruses, refrains, or whatever. There's such minimal lyrical content.
Yeah, it's hard.
When Stu is singing, there's so many instances of just, one chord, and he lets it ring out. And then
it just rings out, and the drums and bass are just kind of chugging along. Yeah.
And then another, and then in between, especially in the second time through the refrain, there are these little noodlings, like they give it the surfing kind of like harmonic sound.
Yeah. It's nice though that it lets the song breathe a little bit. That allows some negative space in there. That just kind of makes it stand out from some of the other tracks that are like nonstop crazy noise the whole time. Like Crocodile or Deadbeat, like some of these that are just like crazy the whole time. So yeah, I like that. It makes it stand out a little bit, and I think it works great for the song. All right, well, Spencer, we've been making pretty good time here. I think we've been getting through these songs pretty quickly, at least a little more than usual. So we've only got 2 tracks left, so let's go ahead and hit on track number 8, the penultimate track. I almost forgot to use the phrase there. The penultimate track. This is a very mature and complex and deeply thought out song. This is Stoned Mullet.
Where the fuck do I start with this one? KGLW.net's history page on Stoned Mullet describes the song as follows. Stoned Mullet is a simple and immature 3-chord garage rock song about getting stoned and masturbating.
That's right. Couldn't be anything else.
We have reached a new low on Podagon Infinity, folks.
Oh, the wonders of youth and growing up and getting out of high school and college.
We made it 41 episodes before probably grossing people out.
Oh, to be young again and only have 2 things to ever worry about.
Yeah, right?
Only 2 things on my mind. No taxes, not worrying about getting old or dying or anything. Oh, God, yeah. So, yeah, this is, I think that put it perfectly. I don't really know what else to say because, the only lyrics are jacket, 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 jacket. That, and then green out, which, green out, to me, I've heard that phrase before. I think it's kind of like the weed smoking equivalent of a blackout, like how you would get from drinking.
Okay.
Like you drink too much, you kind of like fully shut off and forget everything. I think a green out is kind of similar of like, I'm not a weed smoker, so stoners in the audience, let me know if I'm like totally wrong and it's something else, but I know it's related to marijuana smoking. But I think it's like kind of you have so much that you're just kind of like gone and you're like forget things or whatever, because you can have too much to the point where you're just like annihilated. So
sure.
I think that's kind of what it is just like you're really stoned, like beyond stoned. And well, jacket, that should be self-explanatory based on the description we already gave. So yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna turn my phone toward you, Joe, because I want you to see this note that I took.
You want me to see what? Hold on now, Spencer.
Well,
hold on, easy now.
I want you to see this note that I typed out.
What? It's just words. Okay. What does that say?
Lyrics in quotes.
Does that say jacket
in
equals...
quotes? Jacket equals eggplant emoji. Green out equals leaf emoji or lettuce emoji.
Okay. I thought the green one was like a cucumber. Like so I thought it was another veg. I thought it was green. This song's just about vegetables, actually.
But green.
I thought it was just another phallic-shaped vegetable.
Oh, God.
I thought it was just another phallic vegetable, but green instead of purple. I thought it was an eggplant and then like a zucchini or a cucumber or something. But it was like a leaf. It was a leaf to represent the marijuana.
Marijuana.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so yeah, we know what the song is about. It's perhaps one of the simpler songs on an already very simple EP full of lyrical content to understand. Very straightforward track, not a whole lot of crazy quirks to hang your hat on. There is a nice distorted shredding harmonica from Ambrose.
Oh,
yeah. Just classic ambi, my God. And the title, this was actually one of my favorite fun facts. The title's origin, this was taken from the name of a band at Stu's high school, which itself was taken from an Australian phrase like a stunned mullet, which means dazed, confused, shocked, or uncomprehending.
Kind of a cool, fun origin, just pulling that out. He just, apparently it was a band he really dug. I don't know if he was friends with them or he just liked their sound and stuff, and for whatever reason just took their name and put it in a song, so... That was it. But I don't know if they would if they heard the song later and what it was about or the words that he's using and if they were pleased that he put their name on that, or are they honored, or are they gonna be like I don't know, did they leave some kind of impression on him that that's what they were into?
Who knows? This would be one of those real deep cut obscure questions that we would probably want to ask the band if we ever had the chance to talk to him. Something just came to me though. Stunned mullet. A mullet is a kind of fish. For the longest time, I did not know that.
You were just thinking about the hairstyle.
Is this new information to you too, or did you know that?
No, I have heard of the fish as well. So I was kind of leaning towards like that's what it was, because a hairstyle can't be stunned. So I didn't think it was that. But yeah, I've heard of a mullet fish before.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
I want to add that unsurprisingly, this song has been performed live only twice. The fewest of any song on Willoughby's Beach.
Wow.
Yeah, the band was probably embarrassed about this one a little bit. Couldn't blame them too much. Last performed in Melbourne in 2011, same year this EP came out. However, they apparently teased it via quotes this past summer at Field of Vision Night 2.
Oh, did
in
they
the middle
really?
of Ice 5.
Did you go back and listen and find that? Or?
I did not, unfortunately.
Okay.
That was from KGLW.net.
Oh.
In their history, or their
so
like
one of them just say the phrase, like sing the phrase "green out" or "jacket."
I don't know.
One of those two.
I'm regretting not going back and cross-referencing, but I want to go back and listen soon. But yeah, I just find it hilarious. You could hardly pick two more different, disparate songs and styles from within the same band's catalog. Stoned Mullet and Ice 5, one of the more sophisticated jazz psychedelic rockers.
It just must have somehow popped into one of their minds, and it just came out one way or another.
Oh, man.
Forgive the no pun intended with what I just said there.
Oh, God. There's also a demo on Demos Volume 3, Music to Eat Pond Scum, too. A demo form of Stoned Mullet. I, full disclosure, did not take the time to listen to this one. Just going to say it's not one of my favorites on the album. But check that out if you feel so inclined, and maybe watch your ears if you're listening in headphones, given the previous demos.
I'm sure it's just as rough and awful sounding as the other ones. At the very end of the track, if it couldn't have been immature enough already, right at the very end, Stu, I assume it's Stu, just burps really loud straight into the microphone with like the reverb and echo and everything. And it's just the perfect period at the end of this song. It's just exquisite.
Exquisite indeed. Okay, Joe, let's bring it on home. It's time for the title track, Willoughby's Beach.
Just because I like you, it doesn't mean I like you.
All right, track number 9, Willoughby's Beach, the title track and the final track. This one is pretty upbeat and mid-tempo, not as fast as a lot of the other ones, but still plenty of energy and really fun. As you mentioned earlier, Spencer, the Willoughby's Beach is a real place, and of course that's the title of the whole album as well. Of course, like pretty much all the other songs, though, the lyrics don't reference a beach at all. They don't reference the title of the track at all. I have no idea why they decided to call this one that name, like why this is the title track. I have no idea, because the only lyrics are, just because I like you, it doesn't mean I like you. And then there's more oohs and all that stuff, of course, like all the other ones. But that's literally it. And it's just this weird, just this contradictory statement of just because I like you doesn't mean I like you. And that's it. I don't know.
Okay, one final song title theory that I'm just going to pull out of my ass here.
Let's do it.
Just look. Thinking of it from the brain of a high schooler, which I like to think was not as long ago as it actually was. I'm not 33, I promise.
Nah.
Yes, I am 33.
Old man.
Yeah, I know. Maybe this touches on an old, like, high school or teenage romance, and part of the narrative unfolded at said Willoughby's Beach. You know, maybe a group of the teens were, together out having a rollicking good old time. Why do I sound like an old man every time I try to use slang?
You sound ancient.
What the fuck, man? Okay. But you get where I'm going with that, right? Like maybe it was like kind of one of those goofy teen stories, like, the girl thought one thing or the guy, whatever. There's maybe a miscommunication.
Some miscommunication of feelings of one of them being into the other.
Yeah. Which, and I interpret the lone line in this song, just because I like you, it doesn't mean I like you, that it's just like the typical like teenage misunderstanding of, oh yeah, I like you, but not like that.
Not like you.
Yeah, not like you.
Yeah, because I remember that used to be a thing in like middle school and high school. You would just say the word like instead of being I'm into this person or I have a crush on them, you'd be like, oh, like, dude, like that girl likes you, like whatever, like
no, like she likes
dude,
you.
she likes, yeah. You would use that word as in you are into that person, you have a crush on them, whatever. And it's just such a weird thing, like oh, do you like anyone? Do you like any girls in school or whatever? And it's just such a weird thing. So maybe it's a girl turning a guy down and be like, just because I like you, like as in like hanging out, like you on a friend level, doesn't mean I like you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that could be it.
Yeah, man. I don't have a ton to say about this song. It's another straightforward one. I think we can still take a minute or two to deliberate over it, because there are some things to be said. This was a B-side of the Blacktooth single when this album was freshly coming out. Before I kind of hand it over to you, as I think it looks like you have some thoughts, I'm just going to say I wouldn't have chosen this one for the closer.
No. Well, you mentioned earlier you liked the sound of Dustman Fletcher as a potential closer.
I did, but even independent from that, for some reason, this strikes me as an opener. Like a gradual ease the listener into, okay, this is the sound.
I can kind of see that.
I can still appreciate Danger Money as a punch the listener in the face kind of,
Right.
this is what we're doing, motherfuckers, let's go.
Yeah.
In its own right, that's fun. I think this would have worked much better, though, at the beginning of the EP than at the end, but hey, who am I to say? I'm just a listener. These guys are the ones making the decisions.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird ones where, like I said, it's like a very mid-tempo, steady kind of song. It's not slow, but it's not super upbeat and crazy energetic either. So it's kind of a weird one that feels hard to place. But yeah, I could kind of agree with you on that. I didn't really think too much about it ahead of time, but hearing you describe it that way, it's like, okay, yeah, I could see this being an opener if they wanted to go the route of a more kind of ease into the record kind of opener. But obviously that is not the route that they took. So it is what it is.
Notably, this song has been performed live 25 times, although it is a rarity these days. They've performed it just 4 times in the past decade. So it has hung around a little bit, but obviously nowhere near as common an experience as it was in, say, 2011, 2012.
So that is about all we have to say about these tracks on Willoughby's Beach. Each one interesting in their own way, a perfect little snapshot of the band in their early days, some moments where we see some elements that would be brought back up in later music, some of the more noisy, psychedelic, garage rock kind of sound. This is the beginning of it all. With all that out of the way, why don't we do our usual top 3 songs and least favorite? I will send it over to you. Hit them first, Spencer. Top 3.
Okay, this was probably one of the easiest top 3 I've ever selected.
Really?
In the history of the show, yes. Okay, so 2 of them were like locks, practically. Those 2 being Blacktooth and Dustbin Fletcher.
Okay.
Those grooves are just undeniable, good feels everywhere, even some humor a little bit in terms of Blacktooth. A little bit of a funny theme there.
Yeah.
The one in between, though, it wasn't as quick of a lock as the other 2, but I didn't take much time to arrive at this. Let It Bleed. I enjoy the soft, chill ballad with those surfy-sounding chords and its serene feel, that blasting harmonica from Ambrose in the middle. Yeah, those are my pretty quick and relatively easy top 3. How about yours?
All right, so for my top 3, we were pretty close, actually. 2 out of the 3 lined up. I also had Blacktooth and Let It Bleed. Let It Bleed I like for all the same reasons you just mentioned, and Blacktooth is just really catchy, really fun. That one's been very popular over the years for good reason. But as for my third, I actually went with Crocodile. I really like just the chaos, that dark surfer sound. It's so simple, and it kind of just does the same thing over and over again for the whole song. But sometimes, like, that's all it needs, and just the energy and the chaos of it is enough for me to just get attached to it and love it. It just makes me want to bang my head and, like, mosh and stuff. I would love to hear that live. I mean, that's wishful thinking, hearing any of these songs live. The chance that you get to hear any of them, even though they bring back some like Blacktooth every once in a blue moon, but still, it's pretty rare. Mm-hmm. So normally it'll be like maybe one show on a tour they'll throw a real old track like that in, but it's pretty rare. But yep, that's it for my top 3. Dustbin is a good one as well, but I that one didn't quite make it into my top 3. If it was top 4, that might be my next one.
Okay.
Yeah, but how about least favorite?
Okay, well, real quick on the flip side of that, if we were doing a top 4 or an honorable mention, I think Crocodile would have been mine.
Okay.
So we would have gone 4 for 4 in that regard.
All right.
Okay, but and also real quick, a reminder to listeners, even though we made this mistake for such a long time, in case you didn't see this post, we have indeed gone 4 for 4 in coinciding fully on our top 3 and least favorite tracks. That was on our Butterfly 3000 album.
Which was pretty early on in the show's history.
Yeah. So, which we somehow forgot about very quickly.
Wiped it from our memory, yeah.
Yes. So again, retroactive apologies for that.
Yeah.
Okay, least favorite. This was basically a game time decision, actually. I was mulling over a couple. I'm going with Danger Money. It's shorter. I like its punchy energy. Ultimately, there's not enough there for me to latch onto. The other the other ones that I had in mind, Stoned Mullet came close, but Ambi's harmonica really saves that one.
Okay, yeah.
Chalk that one up with songs I will never play for people I'm trying to get into Giz, obviously.
Yeah.
Deadbeat was close because for some reason that one just always kind of passes me by when I listen to this album. But when I
it's
take
so fast and crazy, it just kind of flies right past you.
yeah, but when I take the time to listen to it, there is some value in it for sure. Danger Money, just less so.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually wrote down Stoned Mullet as my least favorite, and like listening back to it and hearing that the way that harmonica shreds makes me feel a little bad about it because that part of it kicks ass. But otherwise, I don't know. It just doesn't do as much for me. It was really hard to pick. It was hard to pick the top three for me as well, but especially the least favorite because I don't really dislike any of these songs, and this album is very consistent. It just kind of has this solid, even some of them vary in tempo a little bit, and like there's ones like Let It Bleed that we said stand out a little bit because of some acoustic guitar. It's a little slower, but overall, like it's a very consistent sound, and they all just, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they kind of like blend together into this just one whole mess of music in a way for me that like it's hard to kind of separate them out. None of them really stand out to me in a good or bad way. They're just all kind of very, kind of similar parts of a whole. So it was hard to pick those out. But yeah, that was just kind of my gut. I went with that one. So yeah, that is it. That's the top three and least favorite.
Okay. And as promised earlier on the show, we said that there were some social media comments to read out. And
that's right. We didn't forget about you.
Nope. No, sir. We put out the prompt some time ago asking people their opinions on Willoughby's Beach. And I think appropriately enough, there weren't a lot. And I think that ultimately speaks to where this album sits in people's esteem as far as how they feel about various albums the band has put out. This one doesn't rank high for most people. But nonetheless, all three of the people who commented on socials came via Blue Sky. Joe, do you want to read out the first one?
Yeah, sure thing. So the first one comes from someone we've heard from a few times, King Shrimpo and the Nonagon Wizard. They said, I think Willoughby's Beach is a very great album. My favorite songs being Deadbeat and Stoned Mullet. Oh, sorry.
Whoops.
Sorry.
Sorry, Shrimpo.
Like I said, I don't hate it. P.S. I've always wondered what effects Stu used on his voice because I'm pretty sure it might be some tremolo, but I don't know. Okay, are they talking specifically about one of those two songs or just in general? Because I didn't really notice like a tremolo effect. Tremolo is when it's sort of like, it's almost like the volume of something is being cut really fast. So it's like that wah, 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 wah kind of effect. As a very standout example in a popular song, the beginning of Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day, that that effect on the guitar, that's a tremolo. So I don't really hear anything like that on Stu's vocals on this album too much. So maybe you're just getting it mixed up with something else. I'm not sure, but there is a lot of, filtering going on, distortion. It's kind of like overdriven and almost kind of sounds like there's like a high pass filter a little bit on his voice, or he's just using a really shitty microphone and really like primitive recording setup, and that's just why it sounds like rough and unique in the way that it does. There's also some spots where there's like a delay effect or an echo to his voice as well, so maybe it was one of those that stood out to you. But yeah, tremolo, I can't think off the top of my head of hearing that on his voice anywhere, but maybe when I listen back again I'll find something I missed.
Yeah. Next up is Idiot Lizard, who says, when King Gizzard says, they make me get up in the morning, I really felt that. Same, Idiot Lizard. And finally, Quetzalcoatlus Wellness Institute, welcome back to the fold, buddy, says, can't help but think there's a bit of psychotic turnbuckles influence in there. Aussie's psychedelic thrash band. I have never heard of them, but I will be checking that out. Have you heard of them?
No, I have not, and I always do this where I see the listener messages and they reference something and I mean to check it out before recording, and then I don't. I just get my ADHD. I can't keep that organized. But hearing the phrase, that description of Aussie psychedelic thrash, definitely perked up my ears a little bit. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to check that out. So I am going to be checking out Psychotic Turnbuckles very soon. I promise.
Yep, I'm going to add that to my albums queue on Tidal. I've actually, believe it or not, I finally started to chip away at some of my albums I've been meaning to listen to, quote unquote. This very week, I've started to listen to some of those. So hopefully that one will be next.
All right, it feels like it's been a little while since we've done this, but it's time to do our end of show occasional segment that we do sometimes when we feel like it. That's the official tagline, all of that I just said. All right, this is Most of What We Like.
Most of what we like.
Okay, for those newer listeners, perhaps, this is the segment of the show where we do it sometimes, but not always, and we'll share non-Giz music or non-Giz media in general, sometimes games, books, movies, shows that we're into, whatever. Joe, this week I want to draw some attention to Frampton Comes Alive, the famous Peter Frampton live album that came out in 1976, and this is maybe going to fit into something that I would like to try and do throughout the duration of 2026 in this segment, and that is to highlight albums that are celebrating their 50th anniversaries. So Frampton Comes Alive in particular, just earlier this month actually celebrated its 50th anniversary. And you know, the famous singles, Show Me the Way, Do You Feel Like We Do, that beautiful talk box that was just such a sign of the
Always
times.
been a big fan of that sound.
Oh my God. And in addition to those, there are a couple of cool bluesy tracks on that reminded me a lot of Flight B741. So if you, the listener, have not checked out Frampton Comes Alive, just one of the greatest live records of all time, perhaps appropriate that I mention it on this show for King Gizzard, a band so renowned for their live shows.
Right.
Check out Frampton Comes Alive. Highly recommend it. And also, pretty different little plug from what I usually do. I want to plug my little brother, Evan. He's making watches on the side lately. So check out Sinclair Watch Company on Instagram, at Sinclair Watch Co. He posted a picture of the watch he made for me. I'm smacking myself in the face for not wearing it right now, but I have it in the other room.
But he like hand put it together from all the bare bones pieces and made one for you?
Yeah, when we all got together as a family recently, he had all the whole like kit and had like the goggle things on as he was putting everything
together. Like the magnifying goggles and stuff. Yeah.
He looked like the toy caretaker guy from Toy Story
2. That's exactly what I just thought of too.
You can't rush art.
I always love that scene where he's like touching up Woody and everything and the Buzz and fixing them up. Wow.
Yeah, but Evan, proud of you, man, for honing your craft there. It's really cool. He put together a nice like silver band watch for me, and it's got like Seahawks throwback colors, the kind of Kelly green and royal blue.
That's cool.
Super cool. Yeah, so check him out at the aforementioned handle.
Awesome.
All right, Joe, what do you got?
All right, so for my Most of What We Like, this is pretty standard stuff. I've got a artist I would like to recommend. I don't know how they came across my streaming feed or streaming algorithm, whatever you call it. I heard about them back when I was still using Spotify. It was one of those things where I'm listening to Giz, it starts auto-playing some random stuff that the algorithm thinks is similar that I might like, and there was this song called It's All About the Music by BBC, and BBC is spelled out B-E-E-B-E-E-S-E-A. BBC. Don't know exactly where they're from. I'm assuming they're English with the name, referencing BBC, like the British Broadcasting Channel. Is that what that stands for? Or Broadcasting Corporation? Maybe, yeah. So I'm assuming they're English. I don't know for sure. But the song just popped up, and I thought it was really fun and cool, and I ended up, like, checking out some of their other stuff, and actually pretty recently, within the last couple months, towards the tail end of 2025, they released a full album with that song on it. I think they had an EP or a couple singles out before, so they're definitely a newer band, definitely smaller and pretty underground, because looking at their plays, their most played song is actually one I haven't heard. It must be an older track, but their most played song has 27,000 plays, and that's just like an older single of theirs or something. It's not one that I've heard, but so yeah, pretty underground, pretty small band.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they released an album in the last couple months called Stanzini Can Be All Right. Have no idea what that means, and for some reason the word all right has 2 L's in it, which is not normally how it's spelled.
But it's one word.
But it's one word,
all
like
right.
that. Yeah,
okay.
See that there? All right. But anyway, kind of punky, upbeat, noisy, kind of like a little bit of that lo-fi, gritty, early Giz sound almost, so I think it was appropriate to mention for today. Really cool band. I'm excited to find something like this that's like very small, very unknown indie kind of band. I don't know how they came to me, but I really dig their sound a lot, and I think a lot of Giz fans would dig them as well. So once again, that is BBC, spelled out B-E-E-B-E-E-S-E-A. And, that's the band. Check their shit out. Pretty cool.
Okay, good stuff. So that has been most of what we like. Feel free to check those out on your own time, or if you have anything you want to share with us in the future, whether it be the aforementioned music, books, games, whatever, let us know. We hope you enjoyed our analysis of Willoughby's Beach and all its goofy, simple, sometimes naive level of fun from early King Giz. We had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. As for next time on the show, we don't currently have anything set in stone for our programming. If you have any ideas, feel free to send them our way at Podagon Infinity on all the socials, podagoninfinity@gmail.com if you prefer to email us. Otherwise, we'll take it upon ourselves to figure something the hell out for the next time we record an episode.
That's right.
And yeah, Joe, that's about all we got today.
That's about it. As always, thank you for listening to Podagon Infinity, and thank you for keeping it weird and doing your part to spread the good word of the Giz. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later, Gators! Woo! More of a huh.
More of a huh. Well,
I already did it. I didn't need to say it again.